Hello to all my wonderful subscribers, devout disciples. Welcome. This is your Master GongSun. Today, I'm going to talk about something I should have talked about a long time ago because this forms the very basis of all Taoist magic. This is the 8 holy symbols, otherwise known as the BaGua. And we will see how important it is later on. This is the post-heaven arrangement, meaning we have fire at the top. This is fire. And this is water, water at the bottom. Now, let us discuss the history of it first. So, in the beginning, there is a shaman. He was also like a king in China called Fu Xi. And he was responsible for the transmission of a lot of what we still use today, a lot of the Taoist magic. So the legend goes that it was a giant turtle who came out of a river, and there were patterns on the white coat of it was like a horse, it's actually like half horse, half dragon, but in other sources it tells us it's a giant turtle. So whatever it was, we see the patterns on the coat of the fur, and that pattern turned out to be the 8 diagrams here, or the 8 holy symbols, also known as the BaGua. And this is the key to the mysteries of the universe. Now, these are holy symbols here. So we see Qian, meaning the sky, here. There is no English here. I apologize. I'm using a license-free Wiki Commons image. But for those of us who are serious about learning this, we really should try to learn some of the characters. Because there is magic in the writing after all, and these characters are thousands of years old. Anyway, this is Qian, meaning the sky, the divine yang, and this is Kun, meaning the earth, the divine yin. So that's the father, and that's the mother. And I will get into more details about each one later on. Just wanted to talk a bit more about the history of it first. Anyway, each trigram, these are trigrams here because it consists of 3 lines each, right? 1, 2, 3, right? Each one has their own color and properties and images and powers. Kind of like how, if you're familiar with Western magic, with the Kabbalah, for instance, it's called, each one is well, the whole thing is called the Tree of Life, but each level is called a Sephiroth. And please correct my pronunciation if I got it wrong, because I don't know much about the Jewish Kabbalah, although I did study it for a little while. So it's similar to that. All right, let's start with the first one, Qian. Qian is the sky. Here is how Qian is written in Chinese, and represents, so this is like the divine version of it, and the everyday common character is Tian, meaning the skies or the heavens. So the image is, of course, the sky, and the heavens, right? What is above us, that is a source of all creation. So this is also responsible for creativity as well, right? Because they created us, right? The Tao. And during shamanic times, right, we have the very important Sky Father, and that is a very much a thing, the tradition in many cultures and civilizations. We have some man in the sky who created us, not really a man, but the father figure, right? And he was the one who fertilized the Kun, which is the divine yin, the mother, right? This is feminine. So this is masculine, this is feminine. Anyway, getting back to Qian, we have three unbroken lines. So it's the ultimate yang, isn't it? Three unbroken. So it's very hard, stiff, powerful, unyielding, unbending, like a horse, right? That's the animal, actually. It's very strong, as powerful as a horse. And in magic, it can indicate like a teacher or a master, or for those who help us along the journey. All right, let's continue. The next one is I'm not gonna go in. Well, there's no order, but I'm not gonna go in order. I'm just gonna go to the next one here. Xun, meaning wind. So this is a gentle breeze, and the wind is also very penetrative, and it could be very adaptable as well. And the wind carries the energy of creativity from heaven, and that's why it's directly across from the Qian, from heaven here. Xun. And it's in the family, Xun is the eldest daughter, actually. And so this is more feminine than masculine. And this means that the eldest daughter is ready to receive the male, right? So, and in terms of seasons, it's summertime, right? Think of the sweet summer breeze. It's also a season of abundance too, right? Here we have the receptive yin, right? So if you have here, we'll talk about this one later, right? But this is the one hard line, and that is the qian. Two broken lines indicate kun, meaning the receptive ground, right? And it has two yang lines, right? Because it's also active. It is flowing around. It is wind. And it has lots of qualities of abundance and prosperity in Taoist magic. Its direction is the southwest, and it's purple colored. Think of the wind carrying the qi from heaven, because the qi from heaven would be purple. All right, next we have Kan. Now these, even if you speak Chinese, or can read the characters, you may not know what it is, because these are very specific characters that are pertinent only to Taoist magic, right? So Kan, and then this is Shui, meaning water. So everyday term is water, and Kan is the divine water. And its image is actually dark water, and this is not the gentle flowing water, but actually deep dark waters of the Marianas Trench, or the darkest part of the ocean, right? It's like the abyss, right? It is primordial. It is unknown. It can be quite treacherous, in fact. And in terms of the family, it stands for the middle sun. And we see that one yin, one yang, one yin, right? So it's more yin than yang for sure. And it can also indicate some kind of watery grave. So imagine the Titanic. And the color is black, and the animal could be a pig. And the direction is west, and it's also linked to the powers of the moon, also known as Tai Yin. So Tai Yang, meaning too much yang, is the sun. Tai Yin is too much yin, which is the moon, right? So this is definitely more yin than yang. And we can just tell just from looking at it, right? It's two yin, one yang, right? Two yang here, three yang here, and all yin here. So this must be the ground, the divine mother. Okay, let's continue with the next one. We're going to talk about the mountain, Gun. So the image, of course, is a mountain. And if you look at the character, doesn't this kind of look like a mountain? Like a big, immovable mountain in the distance, right? So it's pronounced Shan in everyday Chinese, but Gun, this is Gun here, in the Taoist esoteric language. So it is yang, one yang root, and has two yin lines. And in Chinese symbolism, mountains are actually divine. It's actually the point of access or the portal, the door to heaven. And in my sect, anyway, the one I learned in Mao Shan style, we actually draw our powers. All the powers, the energy is from the ancestral mountain, and that mountain, of course, gets it from the divine heavens. So mountains are sources of spiritual power, for sure. And it's not just like our mountain in Maoshan. There's 5 holy mountains in China. Maoshan is not one of them. But there are other mountains like Mount Fuji in Japan, or what was it? Olympus, right, among the Greeks, right? And the direction of the mountain here is northwest, and its colors could be blue or black. Okay, now we have finally, we go across here to Kun. Kun is the divine mother. Very yin. It's pronounced D in everyday Mandarin, but in the esoteric language of Taoism, we call it Kun. And the image is the earth. It is very receptive, and as you can see, has 3 broken lines, so very yin. It's the complete opposite, but also complementary to the Qian here. And of course, in the family, if this is the father, then this must be the mother. Qian is father, Kun is mother. And because of that, it rules over mothers and nurturing, and even like love and romance and relationships and all that. The animal is the cow, which is a source of milk, which is, of course, what we need from our mothers as we are nourished since childhood. And its color could be pink or red. And of course, it points north, because if this, yeah, if this points, wait, let me think about this. I'm getting brain fog here. Oh, right. Because if this points south, then the opposite must be north. All right, next we go to Zhen. Pronounced Zhen, meaning lei. Lei means thunder in everyday Chinese. But the Taoist esoteric language, we call it Zhen. And this is very much as fast as lightning, right? We have the power of heaven in its most concentrated essence, right? It's supposed to be exciting and arousing, and there's going to be change created by it. In family terms, it's the eldest son, right? The oldest son. He is now has hit puberty. He is an adult, and he is seeking he's a groom. He's getting married, and of course seeking growth. And if you think about it, there is it makes perfect sense, because it's very much associated with change and growth and development, right? Because we're on the cusp of adulthood, or where we're trying to get onto the next part of our lives, right? So the direction is east, and has to do with spring, because now, well, spring is growing, right? Things are growing. The color is green. The animal is actually the dragon, which makes sense because it's very strong. And it has to do with also your health, your vitality, fertility, and all that. Next, Li is fire. And these are the sacred flames. Li is the middle daughter. And the middle daughter is also full of youthful vitality. It's also very impulsive, and kind of like the opposite of Kan, right? Which makes sense, right? Because here we have fire and water. Isn't that kind of the opposite? With fire, you can be protected. It's a source of a lot of our technology too. For example, of our weapons, right? We need to forge our swords, with fire. In the West, in Greek mythology, fire was a gift from the gods, wasn't it? What was that story about Prometheus? I don't remember if he was given fire by the Greek gods or whether he stole fire from the gods. Maybe it was something forbidden that he was not allowed to deal with. But here we are. And fire is associated with the East. Its color would be red. And it has to do even with success, actually, in every realm of existence. All right, last one is pronounced Dui, and it has to do with a lake. So imagine a very calm lake, kind of like the Taj Mahal, for instance, right? You see the magnificent Taj Mahal, and then you see it reflected in the lake. And this lake is the youngest daughter and associated with the southeast. It has 2 yang lines and 1 yin line. And it could also mean like joy or comfort. And but at the same time, you have to be careful. It could be a lake one instance, but it could also become a swamp the next. And the animal is the sheep. All right, so these are our 8 trigrams, their main properties. We should spend some time being familiar with them because there are actually lots of spells, incantations associated with the BaGua, including the famous BaGua Zhou, which I will discuss in another video. Now this, you've seen it everywhere, I'm sure. For those of you who've been to Asia, you've seen this, of course. This is called a Taiji Tu. You might know it as the yin-yang symbol. This would indicate the presence or location of a Taoist temple. And at the same time, this, you've seen it as well. This is used in divination, actually, if you've seen the Yi Jing. Okay. Well, thank you for tuning in. That's about it for now. I will talk about other important Taoist fundamentals in other videos. Thanks for tuning in. This has been your Master GongSun. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao.